Week 4 of the fantasy football season, and here's top 12 kickers I'm ranking this week. Number 1, who else would it be than Justin Tucker of the Baltimore Ravens? This Raven offense, they've had some trouble this season punching it into the end zone, and that's just more attempts and more field goal tries here for Tucker. So this week here at the dog pound to Cleveland in a ball game where I think both defenses are going to hold some of these kickers to field goal attempts and put up some points here. I think Justin Tucker will get 2 or 3 attempts in this one, kick 50 yards plus. Is Tucker. And this week at Cleveland in a ball game where it's going to be a grinded division matchup, I got him at 1. Number 2, Tyler Bass of the Buffalo Bills. So Tyler Bass has been a solid kicker now over the last 3 seasons since he came into the league. And obviously he's on one of the best offenses in the league. This is another shootout, I believe, between 2 division rivals in the AFC East, between this Buffalo team and Miami. And Bass, he's getting opportunities. We know he's a kicker that could kick it 50-plus easily. And this week, points are going to be put on the board early and often, I believe, in this ball game versus Miami. So I got him at 2. Number 3, Evan McPherson of the Cincinnati Bengals. Evan McPherson last week, the best game of the season for him, 19 fantasy points. And this week, a good matchup at the Tennessee Titans, where they're bend but don't break type of defense as well, where I think at least 2 or 3 field goals will be attempted in this ball game by McPherson. Obviously, Joe Burrow not 100%. But he manned it out, toughed it out. They won that ball game on Monday night at the Rams. And McPherson did the rest. Well, they got in the red zone and put points on the board. And this week I could see a similar type of game script on the road at Tennessee, where Burrow has enough to get his team down the field, but some drives he won't finish. And McPherson would finish it off with a field goal. Number 4, Cameron Dicker, a Los Angeles Chargers. So Cameron Dicker in this Charger offense high-powered. I know Dicker last week missed a 53-yarder. But he's a kicker still with great range. Indoor game, which is always a plus this week versus the Vegas Raiders. And we know this Raider defense is one of the worst units in the league. Where I think this Charger team, even without Mike Williams the rest of the season, could easily go up and down the field and put points on the board. So Cameron Dicker, another kicker that's been solid over the last couple seasons on a high-powered offense, big boot. And this week, once again, I think he has a good ball game. 5, Jake Moody of the San Francisco 49ers. Moody so far, he's been solid in his rookie season, taken in the NFL draft this year, and they let Robbie Gould walk in free agency, and he still hasn't signed with a team. So right now, Moody, he could kick it from anywhere as well, 50-plus yard kicker, and that was the one spot that San Francisco wanted to upgrade. While Robbie Gould obviously was an accurate kicker, he couldn't kick pretty much over 45 yards consistently anymore. So right now, Moody's put up double-digit fantasy points every game this season. This week, another great matchup versus the Arizona Cardinals that obviously can't really stop anyone. And there's going to be field goal opportunities. So once again, I think Moody has a good ball game and will reach that double-digit point mark. And I got him at 5. Number 6, Harrison Butker of the Kansas City Chiefs. So Harrison Butker, the first couple weeks, he didn't do much. But last week, he had opportunities, scored 12 fantasy points. And this week, it's at the New York Jets, a bend but don't break type of defense where teams are attempting a decent amount of field goals per game. So this week, I think the Chiefs obviously will put a few touchdowns on the board, but also drives where this Jet defense will hold them out of the end zone, where Butker will have to settle for a few field goals. So right now, Butker's 100% healthy, where last season, he really wasn't all year. And right now, he's been putting the ball through the uprights and has been consistent. So this week here in a matchup that favors him, where he'll have to settle for field goals, I believe, I think he has a good ball game, and I got him at 6. Number 7, Brandon Aubrey of the Dallas Cowboys. So Brandon Aubrey, one of the best kickers already in fantasy football. And this Cowboy team, they just can't find the end zone in the early going of the season. The last 2 games, 3 for 10 in the red zone, and that's just been points for Aubrey, and he's been putting it right through the middle as well. This guy, he's got great accuracy. Last season, obviously, towards the end of the season, was a problem for the Cowboys kicking the football, with Brett Maher not being consistent and accurate, even though this season Maher's turned things around over there with the Rams. But anyway, Brandon Aubrey, it seems like every game 2 or 3 field goals he's been hitting. He's on a high-powered offense where they're going to get in the red zone early and often, and it's a good matchup versus New England. That's a defense that stops a lot of teams from the end zone. So I think, once again, we're in for a good ball game here from Aubrey, where he could get anywhere from 9 to 12 fantasy points. I believe number 8, Jake Elliott of the Philadelphia Eagles. So this Philadelphia Eagle team, high-powered offense once again this season. They were in the red zone, it seems like, at least 4 or 5 times per ball game. And Jake Elliott, he's been a consistent and accurate kicker. So this week here, in a good matchup versus the Washington Commanders, who can't really stop anyone, but they're a team that sometimes in the red zone does buckle down and makes a few stops. I think Jake Elliott in this one, he'll have a few attempts, obviously a few extra points with this offense, and he's definitely a kicker this week that I have hopes that could have a good ball game. once again, number 9, Brett Maher of the Los Angeles Rams. So Brett Maher, like I said early in the video, he was a solid kicker for the beginning of the season with the Cowboys, but then towards the end of the year, inconsistent, inaccurate, missed 5 field goals in the playoffs. But so far this season with this Ram team, double-digit fantasy points in every game this year, and this week an indoor game at the Indianapolis Colts. A Colt defense that's bend don't break. We saw last week with the Baltimore Ravens where they had to settle for a decent amount of field goals in that one. And I think we could see more of the same because this is a nice offense so far in the early going over there in the Rams with guys like Puka Nacua breaking out, Tutu out well, playing well, Kyren Williams out of the backfield, Tyler Higbee. So I think this team could get in the red zone, not finish some drives, and that's where Maher's come in, and he's hit some big field goals from distance this season. It's never been, obviously, the distance, it's been the accuracy, but so far he's been accurate and putting points on the board. Number 10, Younghoe Koo of the Atlanta Falcons. So Younghoe Koo, we know is a solid kicker. Last week it was very surprising to me he actually missed a field goal, and he's in an offense over there with his Falcon team where they're another team that stalls out in the red zone and obviously don't have a good quarterback in Desmond Ridder where he could put the ball in the end zone often, more times than not, where they're settling for field goals. So right now, another indoor game here at Jacksonville, Wembley Stadium, this ball game is going to be at. And we know Koo's one of the better kickers in the league. So right now, after last week missing one, I know he's going to be back on track. He's cool. When I got him at 10, number 11, Jason Sanders of the Miami Dolphins. So Jason Sanders last week, it might have been a record 10 extra points in that ball game where the Dolphins just went up and down the field like crazy versus the Denver Broncos. But this game, they're versus a tougher Buffalo Bill defense, one of the better defenses in the league so far. But I still think we're going to see a shootout in this one. But also, we're going to see Jason Sanders having to settle for some field goals in this ball game. So right now, Sanders has been an accurate kicker. I know a lot of extra points so far this season, but like I said, this is the toughest test to date so far for this Miami team in terms of playing a defense where I think field goals will be on the horizon, at least 2 or 3 in this one. So I think in this game, Sanders has a decent ball game. I got him at 11, and the 12th and final kicker on rankings, Daniel Carlson of the Las Vegas Raiders. Daniel Carlson, so far this season, we haven't seen much out of him, and that has to do with this Raider team turning the football a lot early in the going, 6 interceptions by Garoppolo, and them not just getting in the red zone a lot. And if they do, they've been scoring touchdowns down there. So right now, Carlson still has one of the best boots in the league, in my opinion, at the kicker position. Obviously, he's off to a slow start to start the season. After the last 2 seasons, he was top 5 in fantasy points at the position. But this week here, I think this Raider team, they're going to have to focus, obviously, especially if Jimmy G's out. And if he don't turn the ball over that much, there would have been more opportunities early in the season here for Carlson. So this week here, I think this Raider team, the game plan's conservative, even though they can't be versus a high-powered offense, Los Angeles Chargers. But anyway, in this one, I think they get back on track a little bit. Indoor game at the Chargers, always a good thing for a kicker. And I think Carlson could bounce back this week. So that's the top 12 kickers I'm ranking for week 4 of the fantasy football season.